When it comes to the supernatural or paranormal, one does not have to believe in it to have it come up out of the darkness and into the light, showing its ugly face. These are the times when it did just that. Robert, a freshman in high school at the time, had fallen totally in love with the Atari gaming system after one of his closest friends had introduced it to him on one of his daily visits to his friend's home. The Atari system offered a variety of games, but the one game that Robert fell in love with was a game called Combat. Robert and his friend would spend countless hours every night playing the game, usually calling it quits around midnight, seeing that the two of them had school the following morning. The event that I'm about to share with you was true, and was shared to me right after it happened. But before I go any further, please don't forget to treat the like button like an unwanted roach to smash the hell out of it. Also, click on the bell icon so that you can stay in the loop and be notified each and every time I drop a brand new video. Back in 1978, Robert had found himself constantly losing game after game of Combat to his lifelong friend and had decided to call it quits for the night. As Robert exited his friend's home, he recalled just how relaxing and still the night seemed to be. Although this feeling wasn't out of the ordinary, for some reason on this night it just seemed to be different somehow. As he made his way down the driveway and onto the road, he proceeded to head towards his home, which is only about a 3 or 4 minute walk from where he was at the time. Robert had always worn glasses, so he always had trouble seeing, especially at night when darkness had set in. As Robert continued to make his way towards his house, he thought for a moment that he spotted something or someone coming from the top of the hill near his house. Not putting much thought into it at the time, he just brushed it off as probably being one of the neighborhood guys, so he proceeded to carry on. About midway, he started to get a clearer picture of who or what it was heading his way, and it would forever change his life. After making his way across the driveway and to the cross section of the road, it became crystal clear to him that it wasn't a person heading his way after all, but in fact a horse instead. Seeing a horse wasn't uncommon to Robert. He personally knew two brothers that owned both a horse and a pony, and they would frequently ride them through the neighborhood. But this night would prove to be far more different, for what Robert saw approaching him on horseback was not a man at all. It was what appeared to be a woman dressed in all white, with her legs thrown to one side of the horse. At this moment, Robert's blood ran cold, for he had only seen a woman riding a horse on television and never in the neighborhood. As Robert's heartbeat got louder and louder, he realized that for some reason he could not move any parts of his body. It was as if they were frozen in place, as everything around him seemed to move in slow motion. As he stood there frozen in time, the horse and woman in white got closer and closer to him. On the verge of peeing on himself from utter fear, the horse stopped dead in his tracks, and at that moment the faceless woman stared in his direction with her glowing white eyes and let out a horrifying scream so loud it could have awakened the dead. This caused Robert's body to go numb, as his ears to ring so loudly that he had to cover them up with his hands to try and block out the sound, as blood-curdling fear ran throughout his entire body. Then there was total silence all around him. This moment seemed to have lasted a lifetime, but as Robert started to slowly regain his hearing, and he began to once again hear the night sounds around him, the female entity on the horse looked him directly in his eyes, letting off one more gut-wrenching, jaw-dropping scream as she turned the horse in the direction of Gish Park, and it appeared to walk on the grass as both she and the horse vanished into the night, as if they were never there. Not being able to fully process what had just happened, Robert gathered himself and took off running towards his home as quickly as his two legs would carry him. The following day at school, Robert approached me and began telling me about the horrifying incident that had happened to him just the night before, immediately after leaving his friend's home, and I was completely blown away from his story. For I knew very well that Robert was not one for lying or fabricating the truth, so I listened to him, and I believed every word he had told me involved the night before. And at that moment, he vowed to me never to stay at my house past midnight, no matter what occasion. Until this day, he swears to me that everything that happened on that dreadful night is 100% true. It was written all over his frightened face. Please stay tuned in for more terrifying stories from the hood. I'm Sir Creepsta, and until next time, stay terrified.